All right, let's get this party started because we're already active this morning. We're already long crude and we're already short S&Ps going into the open, which I started doing about 9 o'clock this morning because my kids are home from school, so I didn't have to drop them off from school, so I got to pay attention to the markets a little bit this morning. Got to watch the release of the CPI data. So we're long crude at 101.28, looking to take profits. So the first target is 75, 101.75. S&Ps were short at 19, 7419. Looking to, I already took some profits off around 15. And I was looking for a run below 412. That's where my first target was. But as I tightened my quarter stop, and got stopped at 15, and then the final stop is at 17. So I got to imagine we're so close to this coming into the open that it's just going to hit it at the open and stop it. Crude, we're closing in on the first target. Stops are at 101.40, 101.30. We're long at 28. First target is 75. Probably tighten this one to 45 at least. So I got to imagine MES is going to be stopped out right at the open because we're within a 1.5 of where our final stop is. Because I don't want this to run back up to my entry. So I'm probably going to be a little more active in managing the crude trade, and hopefully it doesn't just get stopped out in the opening. Hopefully all volatility is just to the upside and none to the downside. But we will see. And the inflation data this morning was pretty terrible. Everything came in hotter than expected. I mean, energy inflation is going to feed into everything. It's going to feed into agricultural products. It's going to feed into commodities. It's going to feed into businesses and fuel costs. Like, this is not good. This is no bueno. So I will keep my eye open on crude as we come into the open. I will take my eyes off S&Ps. I do know my stop's at 417. So we need to look at the 5-minute crude. So I can keep an eye. You know what? I don't know if I really need to watch that. Let's just see what kind of volatility we get here at the open. All right, so stopped out in S&Ps. That's good. So I don't have to watch that. One of our orders filled on crude. We got filled at 75. That's good. We hit our profit. So stop on crude is at 45. Below this volume here. That's okay. We don't want to allow it to retrace all the way back. So this kind of sucks on S&Ps. You got stopped at 417. I'm kind of digging the 5-minute charts right now because of all the volatility. S&P's volume within the first minute, probably get 15. Go for 15. Go for 15. That's heavier volumes. So still long on crude. We're out of MES completely. Oh, don't close it, please. CL stops at 45, long from 28. Let's switch this to, I don't know, leave it. Like ES is trying to form a distribution that looks like around 412. So here is the inflation data release at 8:30 this morning. We were at the very bottom of the range around 7,400. Then the market shot up, and then we kind of got above it, but then got very heavy on the offer. And this is what triggered me to kind of start shorting 419 this morning. It was this heavy activity on the offer and the failure to really rotate higher. So that was that thesis. And then crude, the long was this, all this activity here after this jump at 9. So 9 o'clock is technically the crude open. It's not 9:30 like S&Ps. It's technically 9. So you had to shut up the open. All this bid activity, price just failed to stay below it, right? We had all the bids coming in at 24 and just couldn't get below it. So I got long at 28 right here. And I was looking for the swing highs of 75 here for the first target. And then probably the second target is going to be 102. So I can actually just put that in now. So I put in a sell order limit 102. I'll leave the stop at 45 for now. As we approach 102, like we get up to 1080, I'll probably move the stop to 60. All right, we're moving there pretty quickly already. S&P's kind of mixed as you move down. You're getting activity on both the bid and the offer. A little too early in the session to tell what's really happening there. Mixed here on crude as you approach 75, the swing highs. Yeah, you're getting activity on the offer, but you also have some activity on the bid. So it's not terribly imbalanced, but it is a little bit imbalanced, right? Yeah, I just leave the stop at 45 for now. Let this wiggle here around the 60s and see if we can't get a pop up towards 102, high of the day. S&P's already resisting the POC that's developing this morning around 411. All right, get a nice pop in crude. I'm going to trail the stop. So stop at 70 on crude. Crude could potentially explode. The Iran war negotiations are not going well. There's a lot of talk about supply shortages, rationing. You know, if any of that comes to fruition, I mean, crude is $200 a barrel easily. So we'll try to I think we'll just manage a trail on this one. I don't know if necessarily I want to set a target on crude. I think I just want to kind of give it some wiggle room and allow it to run if it wants to run. Because I've already taken profit on one part of it at 75. All right, the swing highs. The next swing highs is 102. Yeah. And that was from this morning. So depending on how this kind of looks, maybe up towards 102-ish. I mean, that's pretty balanced, right? You're not overly heavy on the offer on crude, up in the 80s and 90s. So I still kind of like it. S&P is a little bit of a mixed picture here. Finding balance around 409. The underside of this little distribution here, 412, that kind of formed overnight and during the European session. Like if crude really gets heavy on the offer up here, like in the 102s, and price just can't really hold, and just all the activities on the offer. Yeah, I don't know, but oh, what? Why did I get stop out on crude? Oh, am I looking at the wrong? What happened? Oh, it stopped me at 101.70, huh? No fucking way. No fucking way. Look where CL is, and look how far away it got from 101.70. Wasn't we even within 5 ticks? And I got stopped out on MCL. And then now it's gonna fucking just take off. You fucking fuck trade me and fuck MCL. Oh my god, you whoas. You fucking whoas. That's right. Getting a little heavy on the offer up here at 102s. Volume diminishing a little bit. S&Ps, let's take a look at. Take a look at the 5-minute chart. Yeah, getting a little heavy on the bid down here as we get down towards the lows of this distribution here on the weekly. Slightly diminishing volume, but we haven't really spent a lot of time down here yet. And it's terribly disappointing to be stopped out at 70 on that. Terribly disappointing. I mean, I don't necessarily want to be long in S&Ps here. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the distribution. We're getting pretty heavy on the bid. But price isn't really rejecting. All right, despite all the activity on the bid. All right, it's kind of a mixed picture. Not really getting the drop off in the volume like you did at the highs here at 419. All right, you still got a little bit of a volume bump here, so there potentially could be lower prices on S&Ps still going forward. Crude just ran into a wall at 102, which we were kind of expecting that at the swing highs. I'm going to take a look at the TPO chart here on crude in a second and get myself a better frame of reference as to where any areas of, oh yeah, the crude TPO chart is just all over the place. There's some pretty good balance here around 102, but you also have some other areas where they found pretty good balance, like around 100. So yeah, the TPO chart doesn't help you. Not as clean on as it is on S&Ps. So heavy rejection off the highs on crude, off the swing highs at 102. S&P is looking better down here. You got the drop off in the volume down at 400. It's pretty heavy on the bid. It's not conclusive. I don't know if I still necessarily like logs just based off that CPI data this morning. But the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So I don't want to just be like, oh, we need to be short because of inflation data. If the market is just overwhelmingly telling you you need to be long here, then we need to pay attention. But ideally, I would like to take shorts. So I want to see some heavy activity on the offer, the diminishing volume, the rejections, the absorption, large orders backing, yada, yada, yada. So nothing coming in terms of size outside of the market on open, which you had a couple quick sells at 412. Kind of a little bit of a mixed picture on S&Ps down around 400. You're getting offers, you're getting bids, and prices just really isn't moving. Let's me right back. What did I miss? Well, I missed that crude's a little bit all over the place. S&Ps, what are you doing? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I need to close my window over. It's too cold out. Leave it open a crack. I need some fresh air. Maybe we'll keep the 5-minute crude open, the 1-minute S&Ps open. A little bit of a mixed bag. And the crude. Not terribly heavy on the offer here as we come up near this point of control at 4111. I mean, you're getting a diminishing volume as you move up for sure. And it is getting a little heavy on the offer. Potentially, this might be a good area to short. Right, I don't know if we get above 412. Stop at 414. All right, let's make sure that as we move up, we don't really add a ton of volume, that it diminishes. We want to see diminished volume. I would kind of like to see price stay below all the offer activity. But this is kind of the area I'm eyeing, right at this PLC, right? This is an imbalance continuation type trade. But I want to see as we move up, the volume start to diminish here, and us to reject 412. All right, so you're getting diminished volume. You're adding a little more up at 412. It's not terribly ideal. All right, this isn't very clean. Yeah, you're adding too much volume here at 412, even though it's heavy on the offer. It's just you'd want to taper. All right, to signify that the auction was complete, so that's not it. Peeking back at crude, came back into the area that we got long this morning at 28. A little heavy on the bid. Not a ton of volume. Definitely got the diminished volume as you rotate into 101.35. Let's see how many times you kind of actually got down there. Yeah, just once. Yeah, so you can't really read into that. All right, so back to S&Ps. And we got to keep an eye on this because if we get above 412 and we start to see a pretty drastic reduction in the volume and it all maintains being pretty heavy on the offer and price fails to like kind of stay above this 412, I think we'll short it. Right, you're coming up on the bottom of this range here. All right, that's pretty good. I would want maybe a better taper here though. Like, give me another test. Go just slightly above, like touch 414, and just give me a taper in that volume. You give me a taper in the volume right there, that's a good short. But if you'll like a seller just stepped on it and didn't allow the buyers to take it much higher, I would like to see what happens if you get above this. Right? You want the smoothness. You want a smoothness in the volume. This isn't smooth. It's not smooth at all. Crude peak, nothing burger. I mean, ideally, if you're a long-term bull, the market finds balance today and just stays in a very tight range. It just balances for the day and doesn't really do much of anything. So you're getting the taper in the volume here, right? This is all heavy activity on the offer. You're struggling to get above this POC. You're getting more absorption. I just want to give it a little more wiggle room. Like, it's starting to look good. It's hard to like mentally combine these two distributions here to see kind of what like the volume looks like. Oh, god damn it. Did crude jump? No, crude stayed flat. Damn. Right when we were thought about shorting that. Exploded down. So let's see what happens if you come back up. Or the activity is. I wonder if that was, we'll check the news, see if that was anything. Trump is talking. I thought his thing was at 10. Or it's at 11. Who the fuck is he talking to? Oh, he's speaking in a radio interview with Sid Rosenberg. Why the fuck does it say 11 o'clock? Are these like central times or something? This is all fucked up. I don't know. We gotta check that. I don't know if Financial Juice is set on the right timing. Not really. Right, I should have guessed when Pete Hegseth was supposed to testify. What time does it say? At 9 o'clock, and he started speaking, I think, well before then. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Right, what time did that come out? No, it was 9 o'clock. I don't understand. Maybe he's doing his interview early. Instead of doing it at 11, he's doing it at 9:45. Be crazy if president actually did something earlier. All right, so we missed the opportunity to short at 412. But as you get down here and the volume is diminishing, it's heavy activity on the bid. Getting some activity on the offer. I mean, if I had a long bias today, I'm not necessarily saying like my bias is short because of the CPI data that came out this morning. But we have crude rising. Like, it just feels uncertain to me. Right? I want to be short, I feel like. Not long. That's not a great low. All right, it doesn't have the taper like you do here. This is a smooth taper. This isn't a smooth taper. Like, things are sometimes just much easier to see on the 5-minute chart than they are on the 1-minute chart. 1-minute chart can get a little messy, and you can overread like every minute of order flow, and it can fuck you. So it's good to just like zoom out and take a bigger picture view of things. A little heavy on the offer here on crude. All right, as we're getting towards the top of its distribution. Again, so like where we are distributionally, it isn't matching my thoughts of which direction we should be going. Right? If I think S&Ps are a sell, but we're at the bottom of the distribution, it's not a place to sell. Crude, I'd be more bullish than bearish, but this is also not a spot to be long. Look where value is on crude on the weekly. It's so far away. It's at $98. But if you look at the upper distribution here, I'm going to zoom out, make sure we get all the data. You do have a distribution forming kind of up here with the POC being around 101.37, and you're kind of resisting it, but not doing so very aggressively, I'll say. Right? You got the rejection of it, but is there a quick move away from it? Not yet. It could just happen in like the next few minutes, but all right. I mean, it's pretty well developed. I mean, you can definitely see the curve. Is the auction complete there? I do not know. I do not know. But on this dip, if I was to long it again, I would have liked to see. I mean, it's a pretty good taper in the volume, right? It drops off, but it's like it's a little ledgy, right? This looks better, and that's why I got long at 28. Like, this is pretty heavy activity on the offer, and you're barely making new highs, right? I think crude falls a little bit here. It's not a short though. I don't want to short it because I'm not sure where the target is on this. Right, and also fundamentally, I'd rather be long crude than short crude. So as I just mentioned, this low on S&Ps is probably not good. Is that low good? I don't know. I would like another run down to 400 to confirm that, because that was just like a one-touch rejection, and it didn't really leave clean of a volume distribution. Yeah, so just be patient. I was already pretty active pre-marketing going into the open. Like distributionally and like from this order flow on S&Ps, like it really is enticing me to like, yeah, maybe you should be long here. Right? Because look at that volume taper. That's kind of forming, and all the activities on the bid. Right? Price comes up and stays above that. I mean, potentially you're long up to the POC at 412, or at least the center of this little lower distribution at 412. But again, now you've just kind of created a bit of a flat bottom, which tells me you didn't complete that auction. So there's potential for a revisit here below 400 on S&Ps. Yeah, you don't get really bullish vibes from this. You get more bearish vibes than you do bullish vibes, especially because you're at the upper end of the weekly distribution. All the activities on the offer. As you move higher, the volume is diminishing, but you are making slightly higher highs. But I mean, so S&P is coming off the lows. Again, I think the best place to be taking shorts here, if you're looking at S&Ps, is above 412. That's based off the weekly distribution, and then kind of based off the daily distribution, I would think that would probably be the same thing because you have such a ledge at 412. Again, I don't necessarily want to be long S&Ps right now, not today. I think the news flow is pretty negative. I'm going to see what other Trump comments are making. Maersk, we're still avoiding transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, that's no kidding. China's strong, but we're stronger. Oh. Mm. Volume on S&P is a little bit broken here as we move off the lows of 7,400. I'm kind of balanced in here, right? You're right in the middle of the balanced daily range, so this is to be expected to get activity on both the bid and the offer. Still a heavy offer here on crude. If I wanted to be short crude, I'd be short in crude right now. Right, top of this distribution, what does it look like on the daily? Yeah, I mean, I terribly don't mind this. If you're shorting up here in like 79s, 80s, but I mean, price is still climbing. Like, you want heavy activity on the offer, then price not to be able to move above it. So you don't really have the last signal here on crude, which is the price rejection to get short. But distributionally, where you are on the weekly, where you are on the daily, it makes sense. Heavy activity on the offer makes sense, but it's not clearly rejecting price yet. Back to S&P, seems to be just a little bit of a nothing burger. No place to get long or short on that. It's a very mixed picture right there. Pretty quick rejection outside of value on crude. But again, I don't like the short crude trade right now. I like short S&Ps and I like long crude. Because I think macroeconomically, that's what the picture is telling you. People are hurting right now, and high inflation, high energy costs is going to kill things. It's going to kill the U.S. economy. And Trump is like, "Oh, we have time." You don't. You really do not. Like, you need to get this resolved quickly. You need to get those refineries back online because U.S. crude oil is not the same as Saudi crude oil. Saudi crude oil is so much better. We don't refine ours. Ours is pretty dirty. Canadian oil is super dirty. If you want that Middle East oil, and if it can't get out of this fucking Strait of Hormuz, it cripples everyone. Not just the United States, it cripples Europe. It'll cripple Asia, India. Like, it cripples the entire global economy. And if you tuned in yesterday, we looked at the charts of the strategic oil reserves and the dwindling supplies. And then we also looked at the supplies of oil in Cushing, Oklahoma, and those dwindling supplies. So like fundamentally, like I want to be bullish crude because I think there's a supply issue. And I don't think the market is really appreciating that supply issue. So anytime I can get an imbalance on the bid in crude, I want to be long. Right? I don't want to be short this. Right? This is kind of telling you should maybe even think about shorting this technically, but fundamentally, I think that's dumb. And typically, like I don't like fundamentals overriding my technical picture, right? Because I'm a pretty short-term trader. However, I think the case is just so overwhelming at this point. I just think lower oil prices are just not even in the picture. Like oil below 100, I don't forget it. I don't think we're getting back below 100. Not for any time soon. And if it is, it'll just be a dip. So you're making newer lows on the S&Ps for the day. I don't think it's new weekly lows, is it? It could be. Nope. Nope. We opened the week slightly lower. So we're coming up on the swing lows from Sunday night. All right, because Sunday night it opened, it dipped down, and then got bought up. So you're getting diminishing volume, you're getting activity on the bid. Not terribly imbalanced here. Not at all. Crude. We're just looking for a good dip on crude. I want a good dip on crude, right? I want something that looks like this, right? Heavy activity on the bid and price just can't get below it, right? Anytime this happens on crude this morning, it just advances. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. S&P is going to be the complete opposite, and this is what I'm looking for in S&Ps. Diminishing volume, heavy activity on the offer, in a place that makes sense on the distribution. So like a POC, low volume area. And this was really kind of just like the low volume area above the 412, right? Because this volume wasn't really here this morning. It wasn't developed until here. But yeah, the diminishing volume as you got above 412, all it being on the offer, and we started shorting at 419. Worked out. Got a few points off. The crude trade was better. Probably not the greatest low. That might get revisited. Didn't look that clean. Crude, nothing. Gotta wait for crude. Check it back in with MES. Check the headlines again. No comments from Trump since 9:49. So maybe he's done with his interview. You're getting a little heavy on the bid here at 392s. All right. I mean, there could be a scalp long here. What's your target, though? I'm not sure. 412, but I don't think so. I mean, this is heavy bid activity, folks. This is heavy on the bid right here. Heavy, heavy, heavy. All right, this is probably definitely a scalp long. Where are you going? Not entirely sure. Like maybe just up to O2. Crude, baby, crude. Oh, crude's dipping. Okay, that looks interesting. Open up crude chart. I would like for it to spend some time in here and for it to hold up this heavy bid activity and then price stay above it. Because that's what I'm looking for. Just really heavy bid activity and price not to be able to stay below it. But yeah, some offer activity at the low, so that's no bueno. No bueno. Yeah, I mean 402 on S&Ps maybe target. you're long from the lows at 392. But you're already getting a little heavy on the offer coming into 398s, this little low volume area on the daily. It's not ideal. Mm. Yeah, I don't know if I, terribly mind a long S&P scalp here. I'm just personally myself not going to do it. I want the stars kind of to align with what I'm seeing. And ideally, I want to short S&Ps, not long them. The question today is whether or not we find balance. All right, if we create a nice balanced distributive range today, that'll be good. That'll be pretty bullish. Breakdown would not be good. Like an imbalance type day downward. Ooh, you're going back to 150 if you do. Like I'm enticed by this because it's so heavy on the bid and volume is diminishing. We're not gaining a lot of volume down here as we visit to lows. Crude, too mixed. Too mixed. Yeah, I'll. Oops. Bye. 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 We'll try it. We'll try the scalp at 394 up to 402. And my stop. Keep it pretty tight. 389-ish. 390. And we do 390. Keep it tight. Right. I'll allow it to go slightly below this. Right. Lows at 391.5. Yeah, 390 is fine. So take profit at 402. I'll move break even on part of it already. Just because of this. All right, this looks pretty good. A little bump up. We'll see what the volume kind of looks like as we move up. We might not be able to get above 399. And because this is kind of a scalp, I'm going to put the full stop at 394.50. What was the swing high here? 399. I mean, not terribly imbalanced. Decent looking volume. Hasn't tapered off yet. You might get higher. You might be able to get to 402. All right, this little low volume area on the daily is going to be a little bit of a hindrance, I think. All right, but we're still stopped 2 ticks above break even on the full position if we can get there. I'll trail the stop aggressively as we move up. Take a peek at crude, make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope, not missing anything on crude. If this volume tapers off and it's heavy on the offer here at 400, we're out. You got a little bit of ledge. You're getting very heavy on the offer. Now, if the volume starts to taper, if we can't start adding volume up here around 400, we're just going to be done. So I'm going to trail aggressively on this part, 397, 394.50. All right. What was the swing high? It was 7,400. 595. This is gradually moving things up. I don't expect this to be a runner. I don't. 402 is probably going to be the high of this. All right, volume's tapering off here. All right, you see the volume taper? And it looks pretty clean. If you get another push up and you add volume above here, that's good. but you're heavy on the offer here and the volume's tapering. Be a little more aggressive with the stops. Swing high, 401.25. Yeah, 399, 397. All right, out of 399, I'll leave that 397 because you're heavy on the offer. The volume is diminishing as you get above 400. Right, you're rejecting kind of the POC. So if we just get taken out at 397, we're good. It was a nice little scalp. Peak of crude. Nothing. I mean, this is kind of a flat top here on 400. You might get back above this, but if we get stopped out at 397 before that happens, I'm okay with that. Yep. All right. And so we're out. Good. Nice little scalp. We'll take it. Right off the lows. But it doesn't match our overall theme on S&Ps, right? We want to be long crude. I want to be short S&Ps. But I want the order flow to give me good entries. It's kind of weird. There's a big buyer at 101.52. But nothing over 50 contracts has been transacted on crude this morning. Really? There's one at 49, one at 48. What did I do? 25. Not much size this morning in crude. Nothing over 50 contracts. Interesting. S&Ps. Mixed picture. I don't want to necessarily short the POC on the daily distribution here because it's not very well defined. Right, the volume down here is almost just as much as it is up here. The volume up here is almost just as much as it is down here. So this POC is not very well defined. It's not a very good reference point for us to be shorting. I would think the value area high on the daily distribution, 408, might be better. But 412 probably remains the best because it aligns with this volume ledge here. And then it's also kind of this mean of this lower distribution. A pretty noticeable low volume here at 400. Little mixed picture on S&Ps now. You gotta wait for an imbalance one way or the other. Crude, what are you doing, crude? Nothing burger. Crude continues to be a nothing burger. We had the good trade at the open and then nothing ever since then. It's just going sideways. Mm. S&Ps, nothing. Nothing. You're getting just, it's a mix. This is balanced right here. You're balancing for the most part around 398. It's not a short. It's not a long. It's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Wait for better spots. Sit and wait. Sit and wait. Boo, 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 boo. And you almost got to the 402, baby. Almost. Patience. Let's check some headlines. I also want to see what Zero Hedge is up to this morning. Shadow Wars. The IRGC operatives tried to infiltrate Kuwait. Okay. Previous sparse market has with AI tax threat. Yeah, probably not. Ooh. CIA documents sparks wild theories of ancient knowledge hidden under Egypt's Sphinx. What kind of ancient knowledge? Tell me more. Secret electromagnetic energies as inflation roars back. Yeah, I know. Ooh, so S&P's moving up. Finally got to the 402. Yep. Not a short. Not a short yet. Wait for it, folks. Wait for it. Crude. Let's be closer at crude here. It's interacting with its value area low, and there's not much volume below the value area low in the daily distribution. I'm getting a little heavy on the bid. Don't really like the volume taper just yet. Just wanted to make a note real quick. I do a little test down, crude. Confirm that this is all on the bid and that there's diminishing volume down here, that no one's interested. We get the volume taper here. Okay, never mind. Fucker. It's like negative Ghost Rider. Okay, back to S&Ps. Because you're starting to lose some volume. You're heavy on the offer. Don't really have a good reference point other than this value area high at 710-ish. Do you just want a short right here in the middle of value at 406? No, you do not. Let's see if you gain some more volume here as you get above 405s. Yeah, you're getting a little more volume now. If I have my window open while I'm cold, I don't want to put on my sweatshirts. All right, peak of crude, peak of crude, peak of crude. Yeah, nothing. Wait. Nothing. So a lot of activity on the offer, but it lifted price. Right, you did stay below the volume here. You stayed below the volume here, but you kind of are in line with the volume here. It's not a very good reference point. The volume taper is not good at the highs, so give it more time. And I also want a better reference point. We don't have a good reference point. No. I mean, you're starting to get really heavy on the offer and you're getting the volume taper. But I think absent of a good reference point, like we just can't just short the order flow. You can't. You got to be a little more disciplined than that. Not the cleanest volume taper, but sellers absorbed at the highs. Crude, nothing better. I keep on hoping crude does something because crude will move a lot faster than S&Ps will. If you get in on a good crude move, woo. The market is fairly balanced today, which is good. If you're a longer term bull right now, the market to find balance up towards the highs is really productive. You don't want any sort of breakdown today in an imbalanced way where there's no like clear volume distributions. That'd be terrible. Markets will hate that. Yeah, nothing to do on S&Ps, nothing to do at crude at the moment. Hang on, I'm gonna close my window. It's getting too freaking cold in here. It's the middle of May in Michigan, and it's like 40 degrees outside. Get email real quick. Okay. So S&Ps still marching, still marching. All that heavy activity on the offer on crude. Nice volume taper. It might still go lower on crude. That's fine. Give me a better price for my long. That's fine. I'll take it. Looks like it wants to try to be a nice day today, but not successful yet. Heavy activity here at the POC on the offer on S&Ps, at least on the 1 minute chart. I mean, for the most part, like this move up here was saying bearish. All right, all the offer volume that came in held down price. All right. Like, but it's not terribly imbalanced up here. If it was a little more imbalanced, I like this volume taper now. Right. But maybe do one more test higher, make it more on the offer, and then we'll short it on the idea we're at the value area high on the daily distribution. We're near the POC. Well, it's not the POC, but it's the mean of like kind of this lower distribution. Right. There's a high volume node here at 412. So we're kind of eyeing that as potentially an area to short. I like the shorts better than the longs. And it's a combination of fundamentals and technicals on that idea. The crude is just doing nothing. I want this to be more imbalanced, though. You have some bid activity here near the highs of these. Like, you really won't get that when it's a good sell-off. It'll just all be on the offer for the most part. Yeah, I mean, the market's doing a good job of finding balance today on the S&Ps for sure. If it just continually works within this value range, yeah, you're good. Got PPI tomorrow. China summit starts tomorrow. OPEC monthly report is tomorrow. A little juicing right there for some reason. Not sure. Very mixed picture on crude. Like, you get the idea. It doesn't want to move lower, but the order flow isn't backing you. You don't trade pattern recognitions. You trade the order flow in conjunction with distribution levels, overall technical picture, fundamental landscape, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, this is a very curious low volume area at 401. That's here on the daily distribution. It's Pretty noticeable on the weekly. Oh. Boo, 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 boo. Give me something to trade market. You bore me. You bore me, son. Show overlapping rotations in crude. Like, it is interesting as we come down to this low volume area at 401 on S&Ps in the volume taper. It's not overwhelmingly on the bid though. Like, if it was, and you had this volume taper, it actually might just be another scalp. Because it's kind of weird that this low volume area is right at 401. It's probably because of 400, and as price comes down to 400, people buy it up, and you don't get a lot of transactions at 400. You get it at like 401. That could be the reason. But pretty good volume taper, heavy activity on the bid. Yeah, I'm not going to scalp it. But you are getting a little imbalance here. You know, it's a low volume area for sure. The market may just now fill it in. It's not very well defined. There's actually not very well defined low volume areas on the weekly anymore, other than this big gap between 415 and 428, call it. Like, that's nothing. These things are just nothing. Yeah, heavy activity on the bid on S&Ps. Not a very good clean volume taper just yet. Like, it could be a range day, absolutely. Right? You got some CPI news, which is disappointed, but you're not getting any huge sell-off. Crude just runs into offers above 101.60. All right, not heavy on the bid down here. But you see the volume tapers here at these highs, and it's all kind of on the offer. That's not good if you want to get long. That's not good at all if you want to get long. And I don't want to get long on S&Ps. I'm not getting short in this spot. I mean, I'll get long on S&Ps if a scalp opportunity presents itself, but I would prefer a short over the long. And that's really just based off the inflation data and what with everything else going on in the world. No, I just get the impression the markets truly aren't appreciating the potential supply shocks from crude and how it's going to affect everyone. Individual consumers, businesses, governments. Nothing very compelling. Nothing very compelling. Oh, I didn't do that. Well, I'm gonna go check on my kids real quick. Yeah, I think I'm safe to go check on my kids right now. Now you're getting this volume taper here at just below 400. And it's heavy on the bid. Let's see how much volume you add down here, whether or not you clean this taper off a little bit. Oh, a little something, something right there. A little something, something. Oh, crude's waking up. Crude, hello, hello. Interesting. I mean, potentially that's another long scalp right there. All right, right outside the value. I mean, I think you revisit this. But it's heavy on the bid. Very good volume taper. Right at the lows of the distribution. It's just offers. It's just overwhelming. Yeah, maybe I'll clean it up and revisit this. To have it right at the lows. It's kind of peculiar. All right, be right back. Be right back. Gotta make sure my kids aren't like killing each other or something. Oh, even. Oh, S&Ps, S&Ps, S&Ps. Oh, what are you doing? Don't do this without me. Oh, good grace. Is crude climbing? Oh, it is. Damn. Yeah, no good entries though, honestly. I mean, but we did talk about this on the 1 minute S&P chart. All the volume coming in on the offer, and price was not able to get above it. So if you shorted it, good on you. I did not, because we lacked a very good reference point, other than value area high on the daily distribution. Oh well. Let's just be patient. And if you're a bull, you hope this comes back now and fills in and just doesn't like fill in volume here, do another breakdown. If it does that, you're pretty fucked. S&Ps are fucked. You'll probably visit the gap at 320 and possibly can go back to balance at 150, 160. Again, it's precarious. It is precarious, folks. CL, CL, CL. Running into trouble again at the highs at CL. Heavy activity on the offer. I don't like those. Do not dip by this. Do not dip by these S&P moves. 1033. I'm gonna make sure we keep that in view. Okay, good. Good. All right, nothing to do. Nothing to do. See if we can't get a retracement on S&Ps for the short. Maybe on the underside of 392 or at value area low 395. Maybe should have been a little more on top of short in that value area high, but I don't think it was that great of a reference point. I wanted 1-2. I wanted 4-112 on S&Ps to short, and it only got up to 408s. What are you gonna do? A little mixed bag here at the low, so it's not a good low yet. That's a good low. Decent high on crude. Any more volume. All right, what you don't want is a snap down on low volume and then it start building another volume distribution like this. Because that would be imbalance. That means the market has no idea where it needs to go and it will likely find the last place of balance, which again was down at 150, 160. So you're pretty far ways away from that. You want the market to come back up and start filling in this volume at 387, 380, 390. If it does that, you long-term bullish remains in place for most people, I think. But we'll see what happens when we get around 390. I think 392. I don't want to short down here at 386. Nothing to do on crude. Why does this have candles and then this one doesn't? Should we get rid of the candles? Yeah, we'll leave it without the candles. Well, getting a good amount of offer activity here at the lows. What does that tell you? It's not a good low. Not a good low. Move up. Move up. It's so hard to manage all these fucking screens to make sure that they're all viewable. My apologies if you can't see something. Or I talk about something and you can't see it and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? My bad. My bad, bro. Nothing. Browse for a minute. Un momento. Let's see how Tom Hogar is doing. He's probably fucking killed it. What you got going on this morning, Hogar? Are you shorting? Yeah, he's shorting. Good for you. He might have been Sasha. He's a pretty good trader. Oh, he's really underwater on these. Holy shit. Sold the lows on NASDAQ. Oh my god, Tom Hogard. What are you doing? No. Oh, he took out such huge size too. Oh my god. All right, so we're coming up in the area that I'm interested in S&Ps. Let's see kind of what the volume does and where price stays relative to the offers. Crude looks interesting coming into this little low volume area at 101.80. Keep an eye on that. That might be a buy. All right, you're on top of this previous range, getting the volume taper, all the activities on the bid. Price isn't moving below the bid activity. So the question is, would we rather short S&Ps or would we rather be long? I don't want to short that. Let's see what happens here in crude. I don't like this volume here on S&Ps. It's not tapered well enough. Oh my God, Tom Hogan. Pause this screen because I just want to see real quick. Wow. I wonder how much this account size is. It's 100,000 and he's down 7,000. No, it's not even 100,000. It was like 94,000. He's down 7,000 in the morning. Jesus. You can survive that emotionally. Good for you. Fuck me. I would not. You're crazy. You're down like 10% in the morning. Fuck. Fuck, bro. Oh my gosh, screens. Start behaving. Get rid of that. Bring up menus. Don't like the volume. Don't like the volume. Don't like the volume. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. Price did not stay below the bids on, or stay above the bids on crude. So maybe it dips a little bit lower. So just keep a close eye on that one. We're also keeping an eye. Don't like this volume. A little too much activity on the bid. Up at 92. Buyer at 390. That's what that little inflection of volume was. 185. If crude comes down, stays all on the bid, tapers off the volume at 75, I am getting long, bro. I will get long. Yeah, no, I don't like that short on S&Ps. I don't. Even though it's at the value area low, this would be like an imbalance continuation type trade. I just don't like how it looks. Yes, you had activity on the offer at the highs here. Price stayed below, but you had plenty of activity on the offer here, and price was not resistant to it at all. This isn't imbalanced at all. This is pretty balanced up here. So you might get a little higher. So we'll see kind of where that ends up. Keep a closer eye on crude because I like it better. But then, you know, you get activity on the offer here. Let's take a closer look on the 1 minute. Yeah, I'm not sold on it. Maybe a couple more rotations in here to confirm that it's all on the bid and price can't stay below. I mean, there's decent taper. It's decent. Formed on the 1 minute. What are you doing? S&P still trying to do a climb. See, that was not a good short because the order flow did not confirm it. Try to make it. Try to make it back into value on the daily. Activity on both the bid and the offer. And I think Holgard got fucked. Okay, crude is no longer of interest. Nope, not at all. Yikes. All right, S&Ps. What are you trying to do? Where do you want to go to? Need short right back inside of value? I don't think so. I don't, even with absorption or something, all the activity on the offer, price stays below. That's pretty good. Decent looking taper. It's not very heavily on the offer, right? Like it's only slightly on the offer. Pretty decent sizes. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to short it. If that is maybe at the POC, I'd entertain it, maybe. Or if, again, maybe if we're still back down at 391 and 392 and this happened. Large buyer at 394. Wow. 543 contracts. So we had a large buyer at 390, no large buyer at 394. 543 contracts. It's been nothing but buys since 1031. Right here. Peek back at crude just in case. Nope. You're just falling. Don't want it. Don't want it. All right. So S&P is trying to make it back outside of daily value. Yeah, that's a 68% value range, not 70%. It's really a mixed picture with S&Ps. You're getting it both ways. You're getting people taking the bids, get people taking the offers, and then prices just kind of sideways. See what else is going on in the world. Why we're just waiting for nothing. This order flow is not tradable at the moment. There's no clear imbalance for taper. Oh, Somali pirates are making a comeback. Oh, the guy's got 1,000 screens open. Gay. Yay. Nothing. S&P is getting a little heavy on the bid. Crude is just balanced. It's not moving. See what this guy's up to. Like, how many squiggly lines can you draw on a chart, bro? My God. Volume tapering off on S&Ps. Heavy on the bid. It's probably another order full scalp. But where would you take it to? Swing highs. 396. I don't want it. I don't want it. Crude's just going back and forth. Oh, stiff back. Oh, stiff back. Oh, 1048, folks. 1048. So moderately successful day. Yeah, no, I mean, you're not heavy enough on the bid on S&Ps. The price is just staying down there. It's not lifting. Getting heavy on the offer on crude. Like, potentially that's a scalp short, maybe to these swing lows. Because you're right on the high side of this high volume node. You get the volume taper, you get all the activity on the offer. But I wouldn't short because I'm more bullish crude fundamentally. And then S&Ps, I mean, yeah, it looks pretty good, but I mean, you want price to like actually move up. It's trying. It's not a sell. Anything, it's a scalp long, but not like a swing long. Because price struggles to stay below the bids. As the bids come in, price struggles. Sellers at 385, 388. Just had a seller at 385. Those will probably lift things a little bit. I don't think anything else is going to happen in the next 10 minutes, folks. At least not for me. Because I'm not going to short crude, and I'm not going to get long S&Ps here either. Not a chance. All right, I'll conclude it for this morning. Hope you all have a great Tuesday. God bless you. I hope you made some profits today, and I'll see you all bright and early Wednesday morning. All right, everyone.